Welcome. I'm Evan Davis, the entertainment editor for the Vegas Voice. And I'm here to bring you a front row seat to behind-the-scenes interviews with performers and entertainers here in Las Vegas. My guest today is a young guy, really young guy, but tall. And he's a singer, he's a musical comedy guy, he does voiceovers, he's an actor. He just about does everything, and I want to welcome Tony Arias.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Evan. I greatly appreciate it. You forgot model.
Model, that's right.
Yeah, runway model. Yeah. And, Speedo model, whatever you want to call it, I did that when I was younger. And thank you for saying how young I was and how young I am, but when I was much younger, I was much younger.
Well, this is the first time you've been on our show.
Yes, and probably the last.
So people really don't know much about you.
Right.
So I wanted to just give them a little background, or
Sure.
you give them a little background of where you came from.
Absolutely.
And how long you've been in town.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Let's check out that video. I guess it'll come in later. So the story of my life video. I came to Vegas 85, 86, and one of my very, very first jobs, and I tell this story in my shows, I was hired as a relief for the ringmaster over at over at Circus. And I had the job for exactly 6 hours. And I had all the cue cards, and I had an organist behind me, and I had a drummer behind me, and there was the flying, I can't remember the name of the family, but they did all the acrobats and so forth above the casino floor, and it was fabulous. And now I was 17 years old, and I had a microphone, and I had never seen the act, and they did a triple somersault thing, and they were supposed to grab one another. They missed, and he fell. Now there's a net over the casino, and of course he fell in the net, and of course the audience screamed and yelled. Well, I have the microphone in my hand, and I said, "Holy Jesus, son of a wow!" Well, you're not supposed to do that as the ringmaster, master of ceremonies. And so the guy he was fine, but he kept going, you shut up. And I'm going, Jesus, give him a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Wasn't that amazing? And he's still alive. Well, afterwards I came off the stage, and the assistant entertainment director came to me and said, I don't think we'll need you for the rest of the day. And I said, wow, must have got my first gig on the Strip, and I only had to work 6 hours because those were 12-hour shifts. Oh. And you went on every 45 minutes. I mean, it wasn't a difficult job. But yes, I came to Vegas. I graduated from high school, and 4 hours after my graduation, I found myself in Las Vegas from Southern California.
That's cool.
Yeah, love it.
And your voice, I mean, tell us a little about what you do with your voice.
Isn't it annoying, ladies and gentlemen? Go on, turn down the volume. I get it, I understand. To this day, my mother still says, pull your mouth away from the phone. She is so tired of my mother doesn't like loud noises. So, I'm like, it's your fault, you produced me. I don't know what else to tell you. Yeah, my voice, and it's always been very loud, and I went through puberty between the ages of 7 and 8, which happened to be the last year I was able to trick-or-treat. And that's the honest to God's truth. I was 6 foot by the time I was 10 years old. I was just a monster of a kid. I was gorgeous, but I was a monster of a kid. I was tall. But the voice just changed with me. I don't know why. I don't know what happened, and I got a lot of attention. And so I started banging on radio station doors when I first came to Las Vegas, and I had to find some work. Nobody would hire me right off the bat, and so I did. I went to radio and had a fantastic time doing radio, and then I became a midnight singer in one of the lounges, and so it was just the voice is it's just bizarre. I don't know where it comes from. I have no idea. Nobody in my family has this voice. Yeah. My mother.
You call it a baritone?
Baritone, bass, but mainly in the singing world they call us baritones, and in the voiceover world they call me a bass, or VOG, a voice of God.
All right, so you were a DJ, right? And you also, I read somewhere that your voice, you can find your voice somewhere on some of the slot machines in the casinos.
Yes.
How does that happen?
Being in Vegas as long as I have, people, they start making up these games for the casinos, and somebody just said your voice would sound great on one of our casino games, slot machines, and I've done video games and how-to-it videos, and I've done disclaimers, and in fact, my career took off in the voiceover world back in the '80s. When they asked me to do a disclaimer for a production company that owned 5 different adult movies, production companies. And so if my voice sounds familiar to you, it's because my voice at the beginning of those adult videos said something like, the video you're about to witness is intended for educational purposes only. All models were 18 years of age at the time of filming. And so my voice for years was on these
porn
videos.
Flicks. Okay.
Exactly, was on porn flicks. So when people go, God, your voice sounds familiar, I go, yeah, it does. But I don't say anything, But yeah, it's
yeah, that's funny. I read somewhere, talking about productions and producers, read somewhere that you never said no to a producer.
no.
No, is yes or yes? No.
That's actually true. It's very true. I never said no to a producer, and so I ended up on a lot of casting couches. And no, I'm kidding. That's not true at all. One time, but I didn't do anything. I lost the gig, in fact, because I wouldn't do anything. Yes, I've never said no to a producer. When a producer said, "Can you juggle and can you ride a unicycle at the same time?" I said, absolutely. And of course I can't. I have cat-like reflexes, but I can't do that. And I would do something on the spot, make something up on the spot to hopefully make them laugh and go, you know what, that's hilarious, that's funny, we can use him someplace. And so it was just a matter of adapting. And I never really had a great set of skills. All I had was this great face.
Yeah.
And voice. But I've never had a great skills, and so I just kind of made things up on the spot, where other people say, this is what I do. This is my forte. I'm a singer, or I'm a comedian, or I'm a juggler, or I'm this, and I kind of go, I'd rather just say entertainer. It's easier to just encompass everything there and kind of go from there. Although it's difficult for agents to book you when you say you're an entertainer. They go, well, what the hell is that? I mean, you've got to be something that they can classify.
Well, they got to look at you and hear you,
Right,
and you know, give me a face-to-face interview, and then
Exactly.
you can see where I fit in.
That's right,
you know, and
exactly.
That's what happens.
Yeah, you're
with
absolutely
that.
right. Yeah.
Okay,
So it's been an interesting ride. It's been a very interesting ride.
Tell them about some of the either some of the shows you've done or some of the shows you have coming up, because I know there are certain things that are on the horizon.
Yes, I have several shows coming up, and as far as shows I've done in town, the Royal Bizarre Stallion Show over the Excalibur, the Caesar's Magical Empire over at Caesar's Palace, World's Greatest Magic Show over at the Sahara. I've done shows up and down the Strip for several years, and then coming up, I'm very, very excited. We just got through doing a Broadway show about 2 weeks ago, and I did that with Keith Thompson and Philip Fortenberry,
Right.
and we had a blast doing that. But I have shows coming up at the Nevada Room, the main showroom at the Nevada Room here in town, and that'll be in October. And that's called Tony's Vegas Nights, and I'm doing it with the Mike Dubé Trio, and they're fabulous, and they're wonderful. I've been working with Michael Dubé for over 20 years. And then in November, I have one of my favorite shows I love to do is called The Tribute of the Century to Elvis, Engelbert, and Tom. Thanks for everything, Tony Arias. And so it's my musical tribute to Elvis Presley, Engelbert Humperdinck, and Tom Jones. And I just love doing that show. And it's a lot of fun. It's the music I grew up with. And that'll be in November. And all of the show dates and all the ticket and reservations and information are on my website at TonyArias.com. So they can go there. And then in February, I'll be doing my tribute to Las Vegas. I do a tribute show to Las Vegas and tell a lot of funny stories about people I've met, not necessarily worked with, but how I got to meet Mr. Frank Sinatra and Mr. Dean Martin and Sammy Davis Jr. And again, meet them. I literally ran into them. And so I love to tell those stories, and it's a lot of fun. And
You want to give a little quick synopsis of one of those stories?
did, yes, sure, absolutely. Right. I was at the Sands Hotel And in those days, you had to dress up and go to the shows.
Sure.
And one of the maitre d', who became a friend of mine, who I met through the radio industry, he said I could come and see the shows for free if I just shut up and stand in the back and didn't say anything. But I had to, I had to dress in a suit, and so those days you had to dress when you went to see a show. Sure. And so I did, and the show was Sid Caesar and Imogene Coca.
Sure.
And fabulous show. Well, as I was standing in the back, but I heard somebody say, "Hey, linebacker." I'm 6'4". Hey, linebacker. And I finally turned around and I look, and in the corner booth is Mr. Dean Martin sitting with Red Skelton and George Burns. And they were there to see Imogene Coca and Sid Caesar. And Mr. Martin he thought I was a waiter or a maitre d', and so he said, I'll have a martini something something, and Mr. Burns will have hot tea, and Red Skelton wanted orange juice. And I go, and I didn't know what to do. So I said, absolutely. So I left, and the maitre d' said, "What the hell are you doing?" I said, "They wanted a drink." He says, "Well, then go get them the drink." So I went to the bar, paid for it with my own money. I stole one of those round, tray things that the bartender wouldn't give me. I asked her for it, and she said no. And when she looked away, I grabbed it and took the 3 drinks, came back in, and Mr. Martin threw $20 on my tray. And they said, "Good evening, thanks a lot," and that was it. Yeah, and that's how I met Mr. Dean Martin. I mean, it's not like we had a conversation, but it was just a bizarre thing. It was just, but it was a lot of, but I met a lot of celebrities in Las Vegas like that. Mr. Red Fox, he was coming out of Bally's, and he parked his big red Cadillac limousine in front of the Bally's, and he asked me if I wanted to buy it. I said, I would love to, but So meeting celebrities like that in Las Vegas has been a lot of fun. So it's been a great ride. I'm still very, very young, and thank you. And so we have more shows coming up. But if they go to TonyArias.com, they can find out all the different shows.
Yes, they'll see that down here.
Yes. Is it on the floor?
No, it'll be on.
Oh, it's on
it covers up my shirt. That's okay.
It's right here. That's right. Great. Thank you.
Yeah, and you've been on one of my variety shows that the Vegas Voice produced, and that was a lot of fun.
We had a lot of fun.
You were really a hit of that group. He was a hit on that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
that was a lot of fun.
It was, and I'm actually sitting on a couple of phone books now just so I can get close to being as high as he is. Because it's amazing when we stand next to each other. It's like he used my head as a table.
As a tray. Yes.
But it was fun. We had a great time.
Well, thank you. I look forward to the next show. And,
okay.
And you always have some magnificent talent.
Yeah, we've got like a dozen shows coming up next year.
Great.
Dates for it, and I want to talk to you about.
Yes, please,
maybe,
absolutely.
Seeing what we can do with that. Yeah.
Thank you. And thank you for having me on your show today. This is wonderful.
It's been enjoyable. I've let you do all the talking because it's about you. It's not about me.
That's right.
But, so we're gonna wrap it up today, and hopefully you'll come back again.
Yes, I look forward to it.
Yes, and with that, I want to thank Tony Arias, and this is Evan Davis from the Vegas Voice saying, see you next time.
Hello? Oh, hi there. Did you like what you just saw? Well, if you did, hit that subscribe button right down there, all right? And you're going to be able to get more new content from the Vegas Voice TV when it comes aboard. And while you're at it, why don't you read the Vegas Voice magazine? It's filled with so many articles, and especially the guy that makes you laugh on page 6.